Hi everyone and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be talking about calculating rewards and bonus spin values when using the Corgi Ledger. So let's get started. First off, if you're new to Corgi Ledger and you haven't yet downloaded the actual document, you just need to go to corgiledger.com. It's right there on the home page and click download. But before you do that, please make sure you do have a Gmail account. It's required because the Corgi Ledger is a Google Sheets document, and it'll actually send it right into your Google Drive when you click download. So make sure you go and set one of those up first if you don't already have one. If you need any help, you can see my other video called Balancing Academics and Screen Time. It walks you through the ledger, the rules behind it, and how to get it downloaded and onto your own computer. Okay, just for a quick review, what is the Corgi Ledger? It's just a points-based system in the form of a simple spreadsheet. The goals of our homeschool is to have our children be able to plan, schedule, and complete long-term projects. We also want to allow them to explore skills and subjects of their choice, but not in any kind of predetermined order. They get to pick the order. We also want them to experience real-world consequences and develop their intrinsic or self-motivation. And most importantly, we want to make sure there's no begging, pleading, or nagging on our part. So in order to do that, we came up with the Corgi Ledger. And how's it work? Just a real quick reminder. The kids earn Corgis or points for the time they spend working on projects or units and when they complete them. The spreadsheet system tracks and totals everything automatically for you, so you don't have to worry about keeping track of anything. And then the kids can trade in their Corgis, their points, for screen time or other rewards that you set up. We also added a bonus spin that incentivizes them to earn a high amount of points each day or do a lot of work. Okay, so for today's topic, we're going to discuss calculating the rewards and bonus spins. The rewards are just what they exchange their Corgis for, and the bonus spin value is how many Corgis they need to earn in one day in order to get that extra bonus of at least 10% Corgis. So let's take a look. Calculating the cost for the rewards is pretty simple. You're basically creating a ratio between the hours or blocks of work versus the number of Corgis it's going to cost them to get that reward. You need to keep in mind that this will probably require some trial and error, so whatever numbers you come up with to start with, be very open and honest with your kids that this is up to be changed if you don't feel like it's working out well. The reason for this ratio is so that you can be guilt-free when you see your children enjoying the rewards that you have set up. When we first started homeschooling, I found it really difficult to figure out how much time I should allow my kids to have downtime throughout the day. I was so worried about whether or not they were completing enough work that I hesitated to give them breaks hardly at all. Before we started using the Corgi Ledger system, my boys would come quite often, either when they were done with their work for the day, tired of working for the day, or just plain bored, and ask me if they could have time to play video games. And one of two things would happen. The first thing that would happen is I would be busy in the middle of doing something that I needed to get done. So I would just say yes, and they would go off happily and be entertained for an hour or two, and I could finish what I needed to do. The other thing that would happen is I would remember the last time I had said yes, feel guilty that I'm allowing them too much screen time, and tell them no. This would result in them asking me over and over and over again for the rest of the day to see if they could get me to change my mind. Neither of these situations made me feel good. Now, after starting using the Corgi system, with the ratio of time worked to the rewards points, I know that every time they play an hour of video games, there are 4.5 hours of academic work behind that. At the end of the day, adults have no problem vegging out in front of the TV. Everyone wants and needs this downtime. No one tells adults that it's not good for them, that they should be reading a book instead, and if someone tried to tell you that, you would probably respond with indignance. After all, you worked hard all day, whether at your job or in your home. Kids are no different. They've been working hard too, and sometimes they just need a break where they can do something fun that doesn't require them to do a lot of heavy thinking. This is where the rewards comes in. All those Corgis that they've been racking up doing their academic work can help them to get this downtime or little break. It's your job to be flexible and give them an opportunity to spend those Corgis. The secret to the Corgi Ledger is properly priced rewards. It may take some trial and error to find this balance, but once you've found it, your kids will work hard to earn rewards, and you can say yes to screen time without the guilt. This is because you'll know exactly the number of hours of learning that's behind each and every hour of downtime. Negotiations. Deciding on the cost of rewards should be a negotiation between you and your children. Make sure you're being open with your kids that the value of these rewards can change in the future. Have a discussion with them about how you came to the rewards cost, and then seriously take their input into consideration. Remember, using the Corgi Ledger means giving up your "it's my way or the highway" mentality. You are giving some of the power and responsibility for their education back over to your kids. Another important aspect of determining rewards costs is to make sure that you are offering your kids a wide range of reward costs. You don't want everything to be 400 corgis, or it will seem too overwhelming to ever earn rewards. So why in the world do we have a reward like half an hour of YouTube so cheap? Won't they just be watching mind-numbing junk all day on YouTube? Well, you have to remember that for every 20 corgis, there is an hour of academic work behind it. That's an hour of math or writing or reading or some other larger project. If they just alternated earning 20 corgis and then spending those corgis on YouTube time, they would still end up working at least 4 hours a day. Once you've listed rewards that motivate your kids and negotiated their costs, it's time to let them start spending their corgis. And there's only one rule. No corgis, no reward. Under no circumstances should you be giving out rewards for free, no matter how much they beg and plead. It's really simple. Just ask them, well, do you have the corgis? If the answer is no, they cannot have the reward. The system won't work if you give in on this point. Also, rewards are not only for during the school day. If they want to relax after dinner by watching some Netflix or jumping online to game with their friends, they need to pay for that time. If they want a reward, they must exchange it for corgis. Let's move on to calculating the bonus spin value. This is the amount of time that would be a full day's work, and for us, that's 6 hours. Homeschoolers know kids who learn at home are usually able to cover material much quicker than in a traditional school setting. Public schools usually run for 6.5 hours a day. However, a lot of time, nearly half, is lost to transitions between subjects, classrooms, lunch, and recess, so 3 to 4 hours, if even, is enough to cover traditional curriculum. If your child is in kindergarten through 2nd grade, this would be even lower. When setting the number of corgis required to earn a bonus spin, remember that the goal of this is to incentivize your kids to work hard each day. You want to encourage your children to take advantage of the time they are being given back by homeschooling. In our homeschool, we have ours set at 6 hours. That might seem like a lot, but as I've discussed in my blog, we let our boys pick projects that they love. 6 hours tends to fly by, and they get a bonus spin at least 50% of the time. The bonus spin should represent a solid day's work. You don't want it so low that they reach it easily every day, but not so high that they'd have to get up at dawn and work through lunch in order to get that spin. It is also important to note that you do not need to have different values for your older and younger kids. Let's take a look. If you have a 2nd grader and they've earned 100 corgis to get a spin, each 100 corgis is 10 blocks if their block is 15 minutes each. That would equal 2.5 hours of work, right in the range for a kindergartner through 2nd grade. If you have a child who's also in your house and is 3rd grade or above, their 100 corgis is the same 10 blocks, but each block is 30 minutes. That would equal 5 hours of work in order to get a spin. It's also important to note that you don't need to have different values for older and younger kids within the same household. Let's take a look at how it would work. If you set your bonus spin value at 100 corgis and you have one child who's between kindergarten and 2nd grade and they earn 100 corgis, that's the equivalent of 10 blocks if each of their blocks is worth 15 minutes of work. This would then equal 2.5 hours of work to get a spin, an appropriate amount for a 2nd grader. If you have another child who's in 4th grade, that same 100 corgis they need to get a spin is also 10 blocks. But each of those blocks are 30 minutes, meaning they need to do 5 hours of work in order to get a spin. 2.5 and 5 hours of work are appropriate for both age groups. Just like the rewards cost can change, the number of corgis needed for a bonus spin can change too. When first using the ledger, you may want to set this value slightly lower so your kids can have early successes. As they get used to the system, raise it up to encourage more engagement with their education. However, there is no limit to how many spins they can earn. My kids tend to go through spurts. When they have a project that they are working intensely on, they may earn a spin every night for 2 weeks straight. This is not a bad thing. It's very similar to how a team might push to finish a project in the real world. It just means they're working hard. This is behavior we want to reward. I hope this video has helped you to understand how to assign costs to rewards and the bonus spin. If you have any additional questions, you can leave them in the comments below the video. You can also join the Corgi Ledger Facebook group and be sure to click like or follow to be notified when live question sessions will be happening. There's more help on YouTube too for using the Corgi Ledger. Be sure to subscribe there so you'll get notified when new videos go up. And we're even on Instagram. Follow us at the Corgi Ledger. And like always, you can reach me directly through the contact section at corgiledger.com. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope I've helped you to start homeschooling without the hassle.